I have to have this conversation, especially for the young brothers out there of all different races. And I want to talk about really dealing with and understanding the mindset and mentality in the culture, the mindset of the matriarchal male or feminized male. Those individuals who see their masculinity and their manhood only through women. It means without a woman, they feel like they're less of a man. That woman defines their life. And I want you young men especially to not to really, you're going to have to deprogram yourself. It is a process. It's very difficult. It's called, BGS Igmore said it best when he talked about the simp bug, the simp virus that's been implanted in all of us. Don't get me wrong. Men are naturally, protectors of what we naturally are going to protect and provide for the women in our life that add value to our life, our family members, wives, girlfriends, or whatever else. Those are different. Those are women that provide value. They've earned, or they're worthy of our protection and our provision. I use the word worthy, but there's a standard to qualify for that. And that's the problem with these matriarchal males. Because when you let women lead stuff, they're going to lead things based on their feelings and what benefits them. You're going to deal with, especially now in the culture, they're going to set up a society and an environment that benefits them. They're going to have you eating leftovers. They're going to have you dating and marrying certain women, baby mamas, taking care of other men's kids, being cleanup men, doing all this other goofy shit, bailing them out of their financial problems and financial issues, being simp heroes, rescuing women, all that goofy shit. And there's some dudes with low self-esteem that takes great pride in that. Now, I'm not saying guys that are older than me, we've aged out of this dating relationship bullshit, to be honest with you. And I'm more so looking out for the young men, especially the Gen Z and the millennial young men, and making sure that they don't make the same mistakes of older men, that have come up. I've avoided many of these mistakes, but you got to understand the mindset, the mentality. Look at how you want to really tell the truth about a man, watch him around his woman, or watch him around women that are from, that look a certain way or whatever else. You will see his inner simp or his inner masculinity proven and tested in front of you. You find the truth about men, really money and women and their true characters tested in those environments. And what you have is a bunch of guys. Obviously, we've had 70, 80, 100 years of just this idea of trying to feminize men and turn us all into a bunch of jellyback simps, spineless amphibians walking the planet Earth with no masculinity at all. And it's especially prevalent in the black community with this matriarchal culture, where the men have been raised to worship their mamas. You're supposed to outgrow your mama as a man and become a leader. But we have this situation where you raised a whole bunch of generation of boys to be son husbands because they use the government to replace men. Don't give me all this racial theories and bullshit. They took the money. There's all kinds of conspiracy theories, and yes, there's things by design. There's people manipulated, but bullshit. It came down to the money and the power at the end of the day. It came down to money and power, and that's really what competing with men, money and power, and nobody's giving up no power. No matter how much these dudes sit around on their podcasts and talk about all this stuff about relationships and community and all that shit, the only thing they responded to is the economy. Get out of your head. Most of these women don't even like your ass. Accept that. The only reason why many of them will talk to you now is because of financial help. They were raised to work for the boss, the man. They were raised to compete for you for jobs. They're dealing with you, many instances, for their own survival and their own benefit. That's just really what it is. That's what they were not raised to be your wife. They're damn sure is repulsed by the idea of serving you. They're excited about the idea of extracting value from you. But look at these guys my age. I'm a Gen Xer, and boomers especially. You're dealing with be careful who you take advice from. You might be taking advice from a bunch of bitch-led men, cucked men who women run them. run the house. Tell them, just dominate them. The dominating hyena matriarchal queen. And that guy is giving you advice. And all he's giving you advice how to be is how to be a damn jellyback simp. How to live your life, your whole existence around worshiping women, and without a woman, the guy goes into complete depression, and he's in a state of pure, degenerate. His whole life is just crushed. He can't function. He doesn't feel complete. He doesn't feel like a man unless he has a woman. And that's why I told you on this channel, I was telling you this channel, single, married, it don't mean a damn thing to me in this world. Are you a man or are you not a man? I am as driven and motivated as a single man as I am when I was married. It doesn't make a damn difference to me. I move the way I move. With a woman, without a woman, it don't matter nothing to me. I'm going to be me. And I'm trying to you brothers to be a man regardless of what situation you have in your life, whether you with a woman or not. And that's what these goofy ass dudes, whenever you see a dude who comes and he flexes on dude, or I get boxed and all this, imagine a grown ass man. That's matriarchal culture. Bragging about getting boxed or bragging about being in a relationship or whatever else. That is goofy ass jellyback simp activity. It's crazy. You think about how masculinity and manhood has been reduced to a level of mediocrity. And that's why I always get on some of these guys and these game coaches and all these goofy ass dudes talking nonsense out of dudes my age talking about game. Get a life. If you don't have leverage, option, and power by my age, you're a damn loser. It's just that simple. Guys my age don't play games with women. Why? That means you haven't been successful in your life. So you got to understand the reality of who you're listening to and who you're talking to. Whether you listen to a grifter, a dude that, trying to scratch by a living on YouTube. The reason why I talk the way I talk is because I don't give a rat's ass whether YouTube delete my channel or not. I'll just go down to the beach. And that's the difference between my content and other content. I have no reason to be a damn, I'm retired already. What the hell am I gonna, what am I gonna gain from telling you bullshit? Like a few extra dollars a month, and then your life goes to shambles, and your life is ruined. And that's how I tell men the truth, I tell women the truth. And what's crazy thing is I become like that bear from the movie Ted. You think that I would say certain things and the truth and people won't invite me back. But shit, they sent 1,000 requests for me to come back. Maybe I need to start lying or something. This shit's confusing to me. The women are the worst. You women got issues. I say certain shit to the women, tell them the truth, and they just laugh at me. Don't make any damn sense. I'm trying to figure this out. But they invite me back. It's like punishment. But I tell them the truth so they don't invite me back, but I get them getting... America. You guys put something about that in the comments. Women are crazy. You think that I should make channels like this? You think the women will be like, a peaceful life, you're a degenerate, misogynist, all kinds of weird shit, and they'll be like, leave you alone? No, I can't get rid of them. It's gotten worse. But anyhow, moving right along to what I was talking about. Be careful with these dudes, man. Be careful with, see, anybody can put up a video or a Facebook post or whatever else. You ever heard that thing? Sad people with happy pictures, because no one's going to tell the truth about their life. Most people are full of shit. Most of them. They're living a life of complete utter fraudulentness. That's why people need to start doing mental health checks for YouTube and running credit reports and doing background investigations so you figure out what these dudes are. Dude living out of a damn shack in the bushes making YouTube content and whatever else, because it's unverifiable. I could come on here and say all kinds of bullshit, and people will believe them. But you got to be careful with these guys, man. These guys are, especially the ones pushing. Okay, what matters with marriage and stuff like that is the laws. The laws. I ain't changing anytime soon. Women vote. Women not giving up that power. They want to have that leverage on your ass and the ability to rake you over the coals financially and snag your paper. And like I was talking about the Klay Thompson situation yesterday, you know, Klay Thompson, I try to explain to people, it's hope. That's why he's getting all these deletion threats. He stole hope from these 304s. I know 304s is the way I gotta say it. I know I'm an older guy, but YouTube, you know, come after. He took away a belief system, the Russell Wilson hope. The idea of proving these guys wrong that said that body count matters. They're like, well, look, Meg Thee Stallion got a nice squared away, you know, high value, high earning man, and she was a 304 herself. So I can do it anybody, because you guys are liars. That don't matter to us. It don't matter. Y'all are full. When he did that, he took away salvation. And their heads crushed. It was like he destroyed their world, and they wanted him deleted. And he stole an idea from them. He stole a dream. He stole a fantasy. They had the church right now. Religion is the thing that they're going to use to try and pressure you into making a deal with them. And they're going to say, they're going to use religion. You know, all the debauchery that happened before you, they're going to say that Jesus has forgiven them for that. And you are an unrighteous man because you don't want to marry them and sign a contract and sign over your resources to them, because it's about the money. No matter how much scripture comes out of their mouth, the missing ingredient is your money. They don't have it. They need it. If it wasn't for the money, they wouldn't give a rat's ass about your ass. No matter what you could pump fake a peaceful life all day long, I ain't jumping. In fact, I'm the guy who gives 20 pump fakes because the legs ain't jumping no more. Trust me, I'll get you on that. Maybe 15 pump fake, get you in the air, then I'll make my skyhook layup. But that's a whole nother story. This is a scam. It's a bullshit. As soon as women start talking about religious shit, scammer. Right off the back, I'll be like, what that you done that you trying to cover up and clean up in your life? I didn't know you been, yeah. I know what you've been doing. Knock it off. Go bullshit somebody else, okay? Take that scammery down, sir. You know, you go jump in a big tub full of holy water or something and save your take that shit elsewhere. I'm not trying to hear that crap. You know, bullshit. I know what you've been doing. Knock it off. You know, it's crazy. But you got to be careful with these dudes, man. They got this matriarchal mindset, this utopianism, this whatever. That's why I introduced Ayn Rand to you, young brother. Get rid of this altruistic. There's got to get rid of this simp bug that's implanted in us, man. I had to get out of me years ago. Well, shit. We all have, you know, been raised to be, you know, they try to program you to be like you shouldn't want anything good for yourself. Like a young man walking around with no kids shouldn't want to build his own legacy, start his own family, and take care. Work hard. Remember, money is a reflection of your hard work. You bust your knuckles, you work hard all day long, and they want you to spend your money on some other people's kids. Like that's something to flex about. That's matriarchal culture bullshit. That's what the women have programmed men to believe, that shit. And these goofy ass simps will come in here with that bullshit, and it will piss me the hell off. Or body counts and all this stuff don't matter. That's fine if that's your belief system. But the truth is, women were not meant to be passed around like a bag of Skittles. The way, you know, it's crazy. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's an angel in life, doesn't. But at the end of the day, that shit causes trauma. Sexual liberation causes trauma. Period. Getting ran through and ramrodded and passed around. Women are not men in terms of, you know, sexuality. Men can separate sex from, you know, their emotions and whatever else. Women, they bond with some dudes and you know, the trauma. And some of these dudes treat these women like crap. Kicking them out of the room in the middle of the night. Dissing them, not calling them back. That creates mental trauma. Period. And you got that woman. And so now marriage and relationships become the last stop on the sexual liberation rail lines. And you got a woman that's been mentally destroyed, but dealing with, you know, believing in that feminist crap. And now she wants to be in a long-term relationship and marriage with you. And she's bringing all that past trauma in there. And you think you're going to sleep good at night? You're lost your damn mind. You know, I went to therapy. What is therapy for a woman? She sit around, and guess what? She sit around, and that therapist knows that he or she can't tell that woman the truth because she won't come back and she will stop paying. So he has to pander, sit there, yeah, and make up all kinds of shit that excuse her behavior. They don't get better. They just become better victims. They get to go and start pontificating religion. They use religion. They become better victims. They make more excuses. They don't change shit. They just get better at gaslighting, scammerism, and grifting, and whatever else, and virtue signaling, and gaslighting, and everything else. So they become more full of crap. They don't become better. Men become better because we get our ass tore up out here in the real world. Guys like me dig into men. Guys like Kevin Samuels dig into men. We always dig into men, become better for themselves. I said a word for yourself. If you want to add a woman to that, good. But you have to be good for you. And you have to fall in love with your own company first. You can't, you know, at the end of the day, you got to be happy and at peace with yourself and successful with yourself. You know, a person's happiness is their own responsibility. Let it be a woman or, that's why we see what Will Smith said about trying to make women happy. He done lost his damn mind. That's not your job. She ain't happy and she got all problems. Leave that woman in the dust. She's going to destroy your life. That's her responsibility. It's not your responsibility to be out here thinking that you, well, first of all, you should be out here trying to save none of these women out here. Let them wild horses run free. What are you? What are you? You the bank now? You sponsoring women? What are you, like a bailout program or something? You hate yourself that much that you want to hand over your resources to some woman that doesn't see you as her preference or her value, or the man that she would date when she was 21 years old? Is that what nah, hell no. That's for the birds. Get comfortable being alone, man. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. And then you see the guy, every day you with somebody that despises you is a day that you die. You die on the inside because you've sold your soul and your self-respect for access or proximity to pre-owned. Your life has become, you see guys walking around all day long, women following behind them, whatever else. They've sold their soul to be in proximity to pre-owned. I'm sure that pre-owned is delivered to them in a disrespectful manner. Not with any pride or with any enthusiasm or any happiness or whatever. They get a disrespectful dose of pre-owned on a maybe once a week, once a month, or a couple times a year, maybe before their birthday or holiday or special occasion. But their life, the whole relationship is about her. And it's all about serving her. And they can walk around, I got a wife, I got a girlfriend. But they get treated like dog shit. When you're sick, she don't really even give a rat's ass. Every problem that you have, she make it about her. You know what I'm talking about. You can't even get sick around this broad. You damn sure can't tell her anything because it'll be weaponized against you and used as a weapon to destroy your life. So the goal right now is to use religion to get guys back into relationships on the plantation of servitude to women who don't like them. That's it. And handing over your resources to these women. Because the best way to do it is when these women are young, and I tell all the time, when the women are young, get a husband, a career, and an education at the same time. Really should be transitioned from fathers to husbands. Not after everything has been beat up and tore up and vigorously and viciously pounded out and traumatized, and then you find some simp at the end of the rainbow to hold the bag. And that's the problem. You know, and that's the problem. That's what the whole problem with the system is. The men that are making the biggest sacrifice, that are signing on to these women for life, are getting the worst deal. They're getting all the trauma from other man's problems. And no man should be paying the price or paying the price for the sins of other men. You're a fool if you're paying the price for the sins of other men. She's over there talking about trauma she got from other men with you. She should have went and got a therapist and got some mental health therapy before she met you. You're going to pay the price for the sins of other men. You're crazy. That means you have no self-respect. And you got to, look, go see a mental health specialist. I'll tell a man right there, yo, you got to go get some help. You got to get some help. And that's why I recommend my brother to coach your condition. You know, masculine mental health therapist in this space. Get some help. That ain't my problem. Go get some help before you go out here and get in a dating relationship. Real help from somebody who's going to tell you the truth, hold you accountable for a standard, as opposed to somebody who's going to sit their ass on the couch and listen to you just so they can get a bunch of payments. That's the real help. Anyhow, but you can't get it from the church no more, because again, the gospel of bashing men to appease to a female audience so they can get donations every Sunday is the reality of the church. Because of all that mediocrity that's going on in those pews, guess what? He can't say shit. No, he won't make no damn money. And that's just the way it is. Anyhow, not all churches. So don't come at me. I know my religious brothers, salute to you on this channel. Not all churches are like that, but there's a vast majority of them that are. I'm out. Peace and blessings to you guys. We'll talk soon. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and sign up for membership. It's a new month. More content coming your way. Hey, it keeps the ads, it keeps the commercials down on the channel. I certainly ain't interested in taking on any of these products. Anyhow, peace and blessings. I'm out.